Hi, Jeff Ray here, President and CEO of South Bend Regional Chamber, continuing our candidate conversation. Today I'm sitting down with John Anella. John is the incumbent school board member and at-large position on the South Bend Community School Corporation, and he's seeking re-election. John, thank you for joining me this morning.
Thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here.
So, John, you've been on the board a few years, so you're not a stranger to folks, but in the event that folks don't know you, how about giving them a quick introduction? Tell us a little bit about who John Anella is.
I could either say I've been on the school board for 6 years or too long, or is that the same thing? I was originally appointed to fill Roger Parent's vacated seat in 2014 and finish that term, and then I ran in 2016 for the at-large seat and won. So here we are, one more go of it. So I've been on the board for 6 years, and I'm currently serving as president of the board in my second year as president.
Great. So John, let's talk. Let's move right into the board a little bit and talk a little bit about the board position itself. I think just help our folks understand the role of a board member and the things that you have a chance to be involved in on the school board.
Yeah, it's funny. It's a great question because people always ask two things. They always give me condolences for being on the board. But people don't quite understand what the board members do or what we should do. And sometimes even board members struggle with that. Technically, there's 7 of us, and we are the supervisor of the superintendent. We have 1 employee. We set policy and vision and are advocates for the school district. But at the end of the day, we really only have 1 employee, and that currently is, Superintendent Todd Cummings.
Great. So you mentioned getting involved a few years ago. You took Roger Parent's position there. Talk about what it was that inspired you to roll up your sleeves and get involved on the school board.
Well, I've said this many times, and I'll say it again, as I tell my kids, you can't complain about something unless you're willing to do something about it. And let's face it, we all know the history of South Bend schools, and the South Bend School Board has had dysfunction and infighting for many years. And as a citizen who grew up here, who lives in this community, I have 2 Adams graduates, 2 currently at Adams. I'm an Adams graduate. I said, sure, I'll step forward and do this. It's a little bit of a catch-22, right? Where in catch-22, when you're crazy if you want to do it, you're not crazy if you want out. But it's something that is important. And I actually had a viewpoint in the Tribune this morning, basically saying this is, we always like to say this is one of the most important elections that people vote on that they know the least about. And this is thousands of employees, thousands of children go to our schools. It's a huge part of our community and the success or the failure of our community. So that's why I do it. And, 1 more round and, maybe retirement after that, if it works out.
Sounds good, John. Thanks, and thank you for your service. We're grateful for what you've done with the school corporation. We know it's a big time commitment and a commitment that takes you away from family and stuff. We're always grateful for those that are willing to step forward and do those things. Talk a little bit about just yourself. Any kind of special skills that you bring to the position? Are there things from your day job, experiences in your past? Things that you think have helped make you a better school board member?
Well, originally, I think part of the reason they appointed me was my background in finance. I've worked in finance for roughly 25 years. So that brings just a perspective of, and we all know that obviously the public schools and some of South Bend's own doing, but other factors, largely out of our control, demographics or state politics that drive the finances. So that gives a perspective that maybe other people haven't always had. And I think that really helps. And then also just from a personal standpoint or personal strength, and part of, I think, our success recently, and I was going to say that the board right now, we work well together. We work well with the superintendent. And part of it is, I'm a collaborator. I'm willing to listen to people. Let's face it, a lot of it's just being able to work in a respectful, collaborative type of environment where people you have an opinion, and you're allowed to express your opinion, and people treat another with respect. It's just, you can get a lot of things done.
Great. Thanks, John. So this position that you've had on the board the last couple of years has given you a front row seat and an inside look at the corporation. And so let's, spend a couple of minutes talking about the corporation itself. And so help us understand some of the biggest challenges that are either on your plate right now as a corporation or on the horizon, the challenges that we should be aware of that school board members are going to have to and superintendent are going to have to deal with going forward?
Well, we're just in the process of updating our strategic plan, and there's 4 basic premises, and the number one is literacy. I mean, we just have to do a better job academically for our students. I mean, that's just a fact, and that's where we've had some weaknesses. And I think what we're saying is that this is about committing and dedicating to lifting all children up. And the second piece comes from the equity standpoint as well. And you'll appreciate this as a member of the Empowerment Zone board, that it's look at those West Side schools and look at Navarre and 6 straight Fs, and these are kind of things that should never have stood in the first place. And I think there's that will and drive to address those issues as an urban school district. And then it drives to our third point in the strategic plan, which is financial sustainability. I mean, we talk about that a lot. Money doesn't fix everything, but money also matters. And, we passed that referendum, and, whether people supported that or not, it helps us, gives us the breathing room to do some of the things that we need to do as a district. But it also it's about fiscal responsibility as well. We need to make sure that the money we are receiving isn't being wasted on bricks and mortar and empty buildings, and instead going to higher teacher salaries and programming to improve students' performance in the classroom. I mean, those are supporting the classroom and the teachers. And then finally, it comes down to community partnerships. We're not doing this in a bubble, right? We're doing this with, whether it's the chamber or other organizations and businesses and community groups and churches in South Bend. And so we need to, there you go, that's our laundry list, but literacy really becomes the number one priority.
Great, thanks, John. So let's flip that a little bit and look forward a little bit and think about the opportunities that lie ahead. Some of the things that have you excited about the future of the corporation that you hope to build upon.
Well, we have great momentum right now. We passed the referendum in the spring. Superintendent Dr. Cummings is doing a wonderful job. We're actually voting on a contract for him next week to extend that to 2025. You know the revolving door of the South Bend schools. Urban school districts, the average superintendent lasts 3.8 years or something like that. I mean, it's a meat grinder. And if you just keep constantly rolling people over and over, you're never going to make any progress. So the board's working well together, working well with the superintendent. You want that continuity of leadership at the top, but you also want continuity across the district at all levels, whether we're trying to pay hourly employees more so that we can retain better employees, teachers as well. So what we really have is a lot of positive momentum. We passed the referendum. We're going to hopefully have the superintendent stay for a number of years. He's very committed to our district. And we're just going to have to continue to build on this positive momentum to build a better district. As we update our strategic plan, then we have goals, and we're going to engage our community. And I think we've got a lot. Our best days are in front of us. Oh, I can't hear you.
My mistakes. Yep, sorry about that.
That's all these meetings. It's so funny. Like, you're on mute.
Yeah, I know. So you may have sort of answered this, but let me phrase in a different way here. So say you met a stranger who didn't know anything about the South Bend School Corporation and asked you about it. What would you tell them about it?
What would I tell them about it? Well, it's our wonderful public school district. As a parent and a graduate, there's some of the best schools in our community are right here in South Bend and in our public school district.
Great. So let's talk maybe one or two last questions here. You mentioned the board. One of the key positions of the board is to cast the vision. And so again, help us understand the vision for the South Bend Community School Corporation.
Well, and to kind of go back to what I'd said just before, as we update strategic plan, the vision are those 4 items: literacy, building an equitable school district, a long-term financial sustainability, and then obviously doing it in combination with our community and partnership. So those, I joke that now that it's like 4 bullet points, it's easy to talk about. That's our vision. That's our vision. That's Dr. Cummings' vision, and that's the vision we will tell you, tell the community, and that's the vision our employees are charged with. And going out there and executing that. That's the hard part, as we all know.
Yep. Great. Thanks, John. So elections are about people making choices. And so voters are going to have a chance to go into their polling places and choose school board candidates. So tell us a little bit about why they ought to pick John Anella.
This is always the part I don't like. Like, why am I so great? No, I'm not great. You know what it is? And it goes back to all those things I've touched upon. I sound like a little kid. We work well together. No, I mean, we have a lot of positive momentum as a district. We have an energy and a passion as board members, as a superintendent, as the team he's built out, and we have a vision that it's coalescing around this shared vision, and we have an opportunity to really make positive progress. And what community members really should say is they're on a positive trajectory. We want to see this sustained. We want to see this go forward. People always talk about change in an election. Well, we already are the change. It's the positive change that's already happening, and we want to see that continue. And as I like to say, I want to see this thing through because it's actually very exciting.
Great, thanks, John. So as people are thinking about making that choice, where would I send them if they were looking for more information about you and your candidacy?
You can find my website, johnanella.com. And then also on Facebook as well, John Anella School Board. Very easy. Or just Google me. It'll all pop up.
Great. Thank you, John. Thanks for spending a few minutes. I know you're a busy guy. I appreciate your leadership, especially on the school board and all the positive things you're doing to really move things in the right direction. We sense that and are grateful for you answering that call and being willing to go out there and do the hard work.
Thank you. And I just want a final point. I just want to say, we talk a lot about how you get things done. And I always say to my kids and colleagues, I like doers and we're doers and you want to get stuff done and we want to accomplish things. And this is a great opportunity. And this is a great moment for South Bend as well. So
great. Thank you. John Anella, candidate for South Bend Community School Board position at large on the school board. So thanks so much, John.
Thanks, Jeff. As always, appreciate it.